to Get Sexed, where intimacy isn't whispered about, it's shouted from the rooftops. In pink stilettos, of course. I'm Marisa Austin, also known as Miss M, Australia's very own Queen of Sensuality, and I'm here to say what you're not. Like honestly, have you told him that you're faking it yet? And you, still doing the old nipple grab and hoping for the best? When was the last time that you were even intimate, let alone shared actual intercourse? This podcast is for men, women and couples who are done with surface level sex, disconnected relationships and pretending everything is fine. Hear that word, fine. That word screams, oh shit, this is anything but fine. This podcast and my coaching exists because I stayed quiet too. I kept saying, it's fine, so fine, when deep down I knew that it wasn't, and I lost my marriage. Our family unit broke apart, and now I help you speak up, show up, and get turned the fuck on emotionally, physically, and intimately, because I won't take it's fine anymore. And deep down, you know that it's not either. So grab a drink, keep the lights on, and let's talk about what's really going on behind closed doors. It's time to get sexed. Welcome back to another episode of Get Sexed. I'm Miss M, the Queen of Sensuality, and thank you very much for tuning in this evening. Tonight, I want to talk to you about something that's been on my heart lately. And I'm not coming to you as a coach or a therapist. I'm coming to you as a woman who has been there. But more importantly, I'm coming to you as a nan to 4 little girls who will grow up in this world. And I feel that it's time we had an open, honest conversation. Now, some of you are going to love me for speaking out. Some of you will probably hate me for speaking out. But it has been the divide on social media that has led me to decide that tonight's episode is on this particular topic. My concern isn't about whether someone agrees or disagrees with my opinion, because it isn't about seeking approval. It's about opening up a conversation that I think is well and truly overdue. It may be uncomfortable, like opening a can of worms, but it needs to be done. I've been seeing on my social media feed things that are bothering me, and I feel compelled that I need to address it. Young women, beautiful, stunning women in their 20s, and they're all different shapes and sizes and backgrounds, but they are all sharing one thing in common, and that is their lives as a full service worker. And let's be real, it's why they have so many followers. It looks glamorous. I mean, they are counting bundles of hundreds and $50 notes. They're wearing lashes. They've got brand name clothes on. They're living in their home or apartment that they just bought themselves. Brand names are lining up to collab with them, and they're jet setting off on weekends booked by the hour. It's no wonder these people have got such massive followings on social media. But here's the thing. We need to call this out for what it actually is, because on social media, yeah, it has to be called FS work. But you're an escort. You are paid for sex. And while the glamorization of this lifestyle might make it seem like something luxurious and concerningly people saying they're empowering, the reality is a lot darker. You are a hooker, and the amount of money that people pay now, I'm prepared to say you are a high class, high paid hooker. People often see these dollar bills and the brand names and the freedom and think that it's all fun and games. But behind those filters, behind that carefully curated social media posts, the reality is a whole lot more complicated. It's not always about the thrill, it's often about catering to somebody else's fantasy, about performing, about disconnecting from your own body and your own desires. The things that might seem empowering at first, like the money and the attention, can and will over time erode your sense of self. You start to feel like your body is a transaction, a commodity, and even when the work is done, the emotional and physical toll lingers well after. You're not just walking away from a transaction, you're walking away from the pieces of yourself that are left behind. And it's easy to romanticize the money, the freedom, the lifestyle. But the truth is, sex work, especially in its full service form, has an emotional and physical cost that can't be seen from the outside. It takes time to heal, to reclaim your pleasure, to reconnect with yourself as a human being rather than just an object or a performance. And let's be real, this is not about judgment. It's about having an honest conversation around the impact, the long term effects, because at the end of the day, the way that we view sex, intimacy, and our own worth shapes how we navigate the world. And when sex is reduced to nothing more than a transaction, it can leave you feeling more like a product than an actual person. So, as much as some people might say it's empowering or that it's easy money, I want to ask you, what are we really selling when we give our bodies away like this? Are we empowering ourselves? Or are we just feeding into a system that exploits our bodies for somebody else's gain? The world we're living in is changing. The lines between what's private and what's public are blurring. But it is crucial to remember that no matter what you choose to do, no matter what anybody else says, your body is not just a commodity. Your pleasure, your joy, your sense of worth should never ever be up for sale. So here's my question. Are we okay? Like, are we fucking really okay with where we're headed as a society? Where intimacy is being commercialized, where sex is just another product, another transaction. Because I think it's time that we take a step back and reflect on what this is doing to us and ask ourselves, is this really the life that we want to lead? Because let's not forget, we're all worth more than a transaction. We're worthy of a real connection, of real intimacy. We're worthy of, most importantly, real pleasure. The kind that is for us, not somebody else. Over time, your body becomes just the booking. You fake it, you perform, and when it's all over and the door is shut, you are left feeling completely disconnected from your sexuality, your sensuality, and your pleasure. Your body has been so violated, it's not funny. But in 90 seconds, you don't see that. These amazing trips that people are having, that is led by a pussy booking, not because they're going on some luxurious holiday. Even after I left the industry, I remember thinking, you know what, I might just go and have some casual sex, just some pickups, fun, no strings attached. But the truth is, it sucked. There was no presence. There was no real connection. It was just bodies, no depth, no soul. And you know the sad thing that I remember when I lied there? Why the hell am I giving away for free what I used to get paid thousands of dollars for? That's how fucking warped my relationship with sex and self-worth had become. It's easy to glamorize the lifestyle, but we need to face reality. You're not just selling your body, you are selling your soul. And even if you leave that life, the emotional scars don't just instantly vanish. And I'm not saying this out of shame, I'm saying it out of experience. I was the full service worker, an escort, a hooker, and it impacts every part of your life, your relationships, your intimacy, and by Christ, your sense of self worth. Because even though you make a lot of money, what you're giving up, what you're losing in the process is so much more valuable. And here's where it gets even harder. This lifestyle isn't just a part of your past anymore. It's becoming normalized. The same women who once hid behind closed doors are now sharing their lives on social media, building empires on adult content. They're not performing anymore. They're selling the idea, the fantasy, and this illusion. And people are paying for it. They're buying into the empire of the sex work with one click at a time. You see, this is clever marketing. But at the end of the day, it's lights, camera, cock, and pussy. And you are being fucked because you're handing over your debit card details to watch. People are pretending to be outraged, pretending to be so shocked, but it's everywhere. But here's something no one is talking about. Your personal life is on hold. When you live this life, there's no dating. You're not falling in love. You're not building something that's lasting. No matter how strong you think you are, no matter how much you tell yourself that you can separate your real life from that life, it is impossible. People stop seeing you as a person. They stop seeing you as a woman with dreams and needs and desires and, you know what, a fucking heartbeat. All they see is what you've sold, and that shit sticks. Even after you walk away from this industry, even when you try to rebuild your life, those labels don't just go away. You're not seen as a badass entrepreneur. You're seen as a wild in bed or worse. And that, my friends, becomes the lens through which people see you. The real cost is not just about the money or the fame. It's about what happens to your soul when you've become commodified. And you might not even realize that it is happening until one day you wake up and you can't feel your own body anymore. I want to ask you this question. What is the world becoming? Where full service work escorting paid sex is being glamorized, marketed, and even celebrated in today's world. What happened to intimacy? What happened to connection? Sex used to be something that was sacred. Now it's something you perform, you sell, or you give away because we're scared to ask for more. What happened to the real magic of being touched, of being seen, of being loved in a way that isn't transactional? Now, I'm not judging the hustle. I'm not judging the women who are doing what they feel they need to do, but I am asking, are we okay? Because I see a generation of women who are more sexually visible than ever, and yet emotionally starved than ever. We have access to everything but the connection to almost nothing. And here's something no one else is talking about. Your personal life is on hold when you live this life. You're not dating. You're not falling in love. You're not building anything. Because no matter how strong you are, you need to keep going to keep the money coming in. So while you may be stacking up the cash and posting pretty pictures, your soul, your humanity can start fading into the background. And the scariest part, you might not even realize that it's happening until you wake up. Let's be real. On one end of the spectrum, we have got sexless marriages where people are roommates with rings. And on the other end, we've got pussy by the hour, on demand. What the actual fuck is going on? So here's another thing we really need to speak about, and that is the internet is forever. And I'm not saying that being an escort means that you can't be a mum or you can't have kids, because that's bullshit. You can absolutely have both. Let's be real. In today's world, everything is on display. What used to be private is now promoted, and it's not just strangers watching. One day, your kids will see this. They will Google your name. They'll hear whispers at school. They'll come across screenshots, saved clips, online forums, because yes, people talk. And I'm not saying this to shame anybody. I'm saying it because it's fucking real. Because now is not just your story. It has become a part of somebody else's, your children. And let's not pretend that society's got caught up yet. People do talk. Mums at school, they know. Some are probably actually watching your content. Some are judging you. And yes, they're sitting around their dinner tables deciding whether or not they want your children to play with theirs. And again, this isn't about whether you're a good mum. You can be an absolutely incredible mum. This is about the weight that comes with this visibility, the legacy that it leaves, that absolute ripple effect. And I just wish someone had said that to me back then. Not to scare me, not to control me, but to help me hold both truths. That I have the right to do what I want with my body, and I need to understand the long term impacts of the choices that I make. Because we're not just performing for now, we're leaving a digital footprint our future selves will have to walk through. That was something that was never ever an issue when I was an escort. All I want is for us to walk proudly, with awareness, with ownership, not looking back thinking, shit, nobody told me that. So if you've got kids or you want them one day, just know that you're building much more than a brand. You're building a story one day that they are going to inherit. Let's make sure that it's one that you chose, not one that you fell into without realizing the real cost of something that's being glamorized. And here's the thing. I hear on these social media posts that I'm just really wanting to provide for my children, to give my kids what I never had, the house, the holidays, the brand name clothes. And look, I totally get it. The pressure to provide is absolutely real, especially when you're coming from nothing and you want your little babies to have way more than you did. But at what cost? Because I promise you, no child grows up saying, "Thanks, Mum, for selling your vagina so that we could have a flash house. Thanks for handing over your body, your soul, and your sanity so that we could go to Bali once a year." What they do say is, "Why did other mums look at you funny at school pickup? Why are there photos of you on the internet that I now can't unsee? Why didn't you think about what this might mean to me and make me feel?" This isn't about shame. This is reality. Because when your kids grow up and start piecing the story together, they won't just remember the luxury, they'll feel the legacy. And I'm not saying that you can't be a brilliant mum and make hard choices. I'm saying your kids need you whole, present, and proud, not burnt out, disconnected, and hide behind a curated online brand. Money gives comfort, but presence gives safety. And no mansion on the hills or by the beach will replace the feeling of knowing that your mum is truly there, in her body, in her truth, and living a life that she is not ashamed to talk about at the dinner party of anybody's house. So if you're thinking about taking up this industry, I want you to choose wisely. And look, I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. This is your life. This is your body, and it is your choice. And damn, I know how good the money is and how good it looks. But as an ex-escort, I can say with all that I am, I would never fucking do it again. Not because I'm ashamed of what I did, but because I now understand the real cost, the emotional toll, the rational fallout, the digital shadows that I cannot erase. So if you're sitting on the edge of this decision, wondering if you should step into this industry, start OnlyFans, or become that girl, take a deep breath. Book a free call with me and let's talk. No judgment, no shame, just truth. Because this isn't just about what you're going to earn now. It is about what you're potentially going to lose. And I want you to be able to choose not just wisely, but consciously, with eyes wide open, with your heart intact, with your future self in mind. You deserve a life that feels as good as it looks. Let's build it together. Okay. That is the episode. But before you go, just remember that the spark isn't dead. It's probably just buried under laundry and unspoken tension in your relationship. Dig it up, dust it off, and have a damn conversation, not a conflict. Chat about how things are going. If you want more daily tips, please follow me on socials at The Queen of Sensuality, or join me live on YouTube on Sunday nights at 7:30. But in the meantime, with today's episode, please reach out to me and we'll have a chat about what your decision is. Thank you for tuning in. As mentioned, this isn't about pointing the finger at anybody. This is my story and my concern for my granddaughters growing up in a world that we are creating. Have a great evening.